everyone, it is Jazz here, and welcome to a video after not filming for like half a year. This video is really about some of my top reads of 2023. I'm going to start with a little housekeeping because it has been a while and I want to do a little channel update, life update. If you don't care about that, I will leave a time code below in the description and that will take you right to the bookish portion of this video. But I do want to do this because if you care about how this channel is going to be laid out from now on, and like what was going on with my really long break and also what's going on with the Jane Eyre project if you watch that. Okay, so we're just gonna start out with a general life update. So 2022 offered me clinical depression and crippling anxiety. 2023 offered me a little bit of that anxiety. Gotta admit, that was the only true bad thing that made me not post videos. But the other two things were actually good things. They were just really time consuming. Oh, I said two things, but really it's kind of three things. So one thing, obviously, that if you didn't know, I am a 37-year-old college student, and I kind of took some time off of my old job to actually just kind of focus on school because I was overwhelmed. And then I found out through some testing that I started doing at the end of the year that in addition to being inattentive ADHD as well as dyspraxic, I do in fact have level 1 autism spectrum disorder. That was actually a relief and a really good thing because now I can kind of plan my life around the things that I'm struggling with. On top of that, I did get another great thing that happened, but also was just really time consuming. I did get a new job at the YMCA, so I'm teaching like fitness as well as children's fitness at the YMCA. I kind of bring up all this because in terms of the channel, I am planning to try new things, make some adjustments. I think in the past years of running this channel, which has been a really long time, I've been trying to work against my neurodivergence instead of working with my neurodivergence, and that just has not been working, and thus I keep hitting a wall and disappearing. So I'm going to try to not disappear for a long period of time this year. I am going to start crocheting in my videos. I don't know if that seems odd, but your girl needs to stem, which is just all those little actions that, you know, autistic and ADD people need to sort of regulate, and all of my stems are not really conducive to filming, so I decided that I'm going to crochet. Also, I think it's going to get rid of some of my sort of vocal stems that I have going on and my little vocal tics that drive me nuts, which make editing a horrible experience. I was just trying to run my channel like everybody else was running theirs, but I realized that that does not work for the brain that I have going on. So I am trying some things like trying to film a bulk of videos at once. Usually I get really tired when I do that, but we're gonna give it a all-American try because I think that is going to make getting ahead much better, and then I'm not always like panic posting. But you're gonna see a lot of the same outfits because I'm gonna try to bulk film these things. I have not yet decided if I'm going to pick a specific day to post videos, but I will be trying to post at least once a week. In terms of the Jane Eyre project, I think I'm just going to pick a month. I will let you know ahead of time what that month is and just give you all the Jane Eyre project content in that month because I realized that the way I like to read is to really give myself my own time of reading, and trying to read like a book in a month was stressing me, and get a video out was stressing me out. So I'm going to pre-film all that Jane Eyre content because there's 3 more books to talk about, and then I want to do some wrap-up stuff with it later after I've finished all the books. So I'm going to pick a month and just give you all that content if you're interested in that content. I think that is it for the housekeeping sort of update. Now let us get into the actual bookish content of this video. The decision-making moment of who made the top 5 list was basically based on the books that really stuck with me in my mind, that live rent-free in my brain. These are in no particular order. I love them pretty much all the same. The first one I'm going to tell you about is Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. This book was the first adult fiction C.S. Lewis that I've read. I've read some of his nonfiction, and I've obviously read the Chronicles of Narnia, but I hadn't read adult fiction by him yet. And when I read it, I was going, oh, it's amazing. The writing is amazing. The concepts of this book is amazing. It is a retelling of the story of Cupid and Psyche. It's from the perspective of Psyche's sister, and just the things that she goes through, and the story's concept very much centers around really loving selfishly and what that does when you love selfishly to the people around you, to yourself. It is the most beautiful written book in the whole world. The second book on this list is Martha Keyes's The Widow and the Highlander. So this book is about a woman who basically married a man just because her father was planning for her to inherit his land. But after this horrible man dies, she finds that her inheritance is kind of in question. There are some basically threats on her life, and she gets involved with this Highland Scottish man to help her through this situation. It is not only a very sweet historical romance, but it is a well-crafted historical romance. Also, I would say that if you, like me, did not read a lot of romance previously, and you're kind of stepping your toe into the clean romance genre, this is a good one to start with, because the balance of the romantic elements with the sort of intrigue, political aspects, family drama aspects are really well done, which I think is nice if you aren't a consistent clean romance reader. And also, if you want a really healthy, wonderful, respectful, romantic relationship in your romance story, this is a excellent one. This couple was just bomb, but also the character development of all the characters was really well done. So highly recommend. Next up is book 1 in the Jane Eyre Chronicles. This book is Death of a Schoolgirl by Joanna Campbell Slant. This is another historical fiction book. I actually think almost everything except for my 5th book are historical fiction books, so you're getting good historical fiction recommendations today. This is a mystery featuring the character Jane Eyre from Jane Eyre, and she is solving a murder case of a young woman who has died at Adele, the ward of Edward Rochester, at Adele's school. This is one of the best mysteries that I have read. I, first of all, could not guess who was the who in the whodunit, which is an excellent thing. It was a super surprise, but all of the clues were there. I loved the characters. It is set just sort of post, or kind of during what is still considered, I guess, the Regency era. So it's kind of the end of the Regency era, and I was obsessed with reading things set in the Regency period as well as the Victorian period. So it tickled that little piece of joy in me. Yes, Death of a Schoolgirl, highly recommend this book, especially if you like Jane Eyre and mysteries. By the way, if you want like a whole big breakdown on this book, there is a whole video about this book that I have made for the Jane Eyre project. I will link it in the description. Book number 4 is Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. This is another Jane Eyre retelling about an orphan named Jane Steele, obviously, and she has a history of really negative experiences, also a history of criminality. Flash forward, and she becomes a governess for a young lady named Shajara, who is the ward of a man named Charles, who has a mysterious backstory as well. It is an excellent read. I actually took forever to read this book solely because I was enjoying the novel so much that I didn't want it to end, and I actually at one point just started the book over and read it again. I will eventually make a whole video on this, and I will break down the whole history of this book and all the elements of this book in depth when I get back to making videos about the Jane Eyre project. I highly recommend if you want something sort of dark and mysterious and something that has a lot of quirks and characters with really mysterious, dark backstories. The number 5 book is Feelings, A Story in Seasons by Manjeet Thrap. I know that I did not say this person's name right. This is a really short graphic novel with beautiful artistry that I've talked about nonstop already in 2023, but I shall discuss quickly again. And basically it is telling the story of sort of depression through seasons and how there's ebbs and flows and how creating art kind of falls into that feeling. I related to this book so much, but like I said, also the art in it is beautiful to look at and the concept is wonderful. I highly recommend if you have ever been somebody that's gone through depression that to read this. It kind of gives one the feeling that yes, you will kind of go through that season and get out of that season at some point. It's not going to be horrible forever. And it gave me a lot of like good feelings when I read this book. Good feelings, because that's the name of the book. So if you love graphic novels, or even if graphic novels aren't normally your thing, because this one isn't necessarily a traditional narrative. So if you don't want to like read a graphic novel that necessarily has a ton of dialogue to read, this is probably the graphic novel for you because it's less about dialogue and more about imagery and description of like what this semi-autobiographical character is going through. Hey, it's editing jazz. So I actually was going to do both my favorite and least favorite books in this video, but I felt like this video was getting a little long, so I decided to split them into 2 videos. So the second part of this, my least favorite books of 2023, will be going up next week. Anyway, this is the little outro for all of you. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all later. Bye!